Good morning, welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. I have pulled out the ultra tiny milk pail because we just purchased the tiniest little Nigerian milking goat that I have ever had. In my admittedly little experience with goats, I've only been keeping goats for 4 years at this point. My Nigerian dwarves have always been kind of big. The smallest that I've had have been about 65 pounds. I don't think this girl is 50. She might be 40 pounds, I don't know. Good morning. Do you remember how this works? Look how little you are. Nice. I have a feeling you're supposed to know better than that. I have no idea if the smallness of little Foxy here is going to really translate to the camera, because I know when I went to buy her, I could not tell how small she was. I'm not mad about it, I'm just saying. She is itty bitty, and she's in milk, as you can see. Foxy is a first freshener. She's a year old. Her birthday is in January, so she's actually close to being a year and a half old, which is bonkers. So this adorable little goat is a purebred Nigerian dwarf that we brought up out of Georgia. I bought 2 goats recently, actually. I bought little Foxy here, and I did buy in another Nigerian dwarf buck. And I wanted to talk to you guys about why. A lot of you know that we purchased a brand new buck at around this time last year. We brought in Nefarious to really help our udder situation here. So initially, when we started our homestead, really milk was the only concern that I had. I just wanted to bring in milk. I didn't necessarily care how. I just knew I needed 2 relatively unrelated animals, put them together, we would get babies, and as a result, we would get milk. And that is true. That's what happens. But over the last few years, I have really started to appreciate a well-built goat. A well-built goat with a great foundation is often going to be a really healthy animal that produces well for a long time. And so we have been working on kind of just fixing some errors that we started out with, and part of that has been really udder structure as a whole, but historically we've had issues with our goats coming out with multiple teats. So there's a few reasons that that can happen. From what I understand, there's a genetic component, but they also say that there can be environmental factors. Now, in my research, I have not been able to find studies that show specific environmental reasons for the 3-teat thing to occur. Multiple teats in a dairy goat usually is not a problem. You can usually milk them just fine. They can usually raise babies just fine. But as far as shows and registered animals goes, it's not allowed. And because we're working on high quality animals here that will, you know, broad spectrum serve our community, not only in the show world, but in the homesteading world, we really wanted to phase that out. So I sold or put in the freezer a lot of animals that had multiple teats or had the history of producing kids with multiple teats. Nefarious had a total of 6 kids born this last season, and one of them has 3 teats. She doesn't eat very much, but she's a little girl. Here, let's put you back with the herd. We'll get back into this conversation in a second. Foxy and Moot, which is the buck that we bought, we'll go see him in a second too. They only came in last night. It has been raining a lot here. Ma'am. And so I had her penned up in a kidding stall here just so the big girls wouldn't boot her out of the barn in the rain. But it's not gonna rain today, so we'll put you out with the herd. Go this way. Oh, she's gonna follow me. She can't. We'll see how she handles this. You gotta go make goat friends. I know. When I have a small amount of milk that I'm going to strain later, I don't know if you can see it, but I label it ST and then the date. So that means it needs to be strained and it's not yet. I'm just gonna put this with the rest of the milk later when I strain that. Good morning, chickens. All right, so do you guys recognize this little dude right here? Yeah, you. How you doing, Cole? Really recently, we sold Cole to a friend as a breeding buck, and he went to a farm that has some horses. Well, a horse happened to have like stepped on him, not bad, but they flipped him over to kind of deal with his feet and noticed that he had a little third teat growing in. He totally has a third teat that I missed initially, because that's one of the things that I'm really mindful about looking for when they're babies. But as they grow, everything gets bigger, things develop, and he definitely has that third teat. So little Cole back here, he is out of our doe Tempest and Nefarious. Now last year Tempest had a 4-teated baby. It's our Weather Mochi. But I had bred Tempest to a buck named Odie, who his mom has a spur teat. So I knew that that could come out if I used Odie with really anybody. So I nixed Odie from our breeding program, but decided I would breed Tempest to a different buck, because that's really what you should do. If your goal is to not have multi-teated kids, when you get a multi-teated kid out of a certain combination, you just shouldn't repeat that combination again. So I paired her with Nefarious and we got another multi-teated baby. So what I'm understanding from that is Tempest also carries the gene. From what I've heard and been told, you need to have both parents carry the gene for it to express itself physically in one of the babies. Again, that's if it isn't environmental, and I don't know what environmental cause would have brought that out. But just in case it wasn't environmental, ethically, I really shouldn't put Nefarious with Tempest again. So we are very limited in our genetics here. I have used my buck Havoc quite a lot. Havoc is right here. He's the moon-spotted polled buckskin. This is Mochi. And this is our Nefarious. We still love you, sir. So Havoc we've used a lot. I think Havoc senses that there is a new doe on the block. But anyways, Tempest is out of Havoc, and we did have another 3-teated baby early on in the year. It was out of Christine and Havoc, and my guess is Havoc can be part of the problem. Havoc may carry that 3-teat gene and may have passed it on to Tempest. He could have passed it to any one of his daughters that we have here on the farm, and we have a lot of them. So really it put me in a pickle. So if I have all of these Havoc daughters and any one of them could have inherited the 3-teat gene, and then I brought in Nefarious, who very likely could carry the 3-teat gene if the issue with that pairing was not environmental, I felt really constricted by that, because it felt like I had not no good options, but no ideal options. So I contacted everybody I know locally that sells Nigerian dwarf goats that disease tests, whom I trust actually does the thing. There have been cases where people will say they disease test and they don't, and they knowingly sell diseased animals, especially to people like me. They assume a home milker, a homesteader isn't gonna go through the testing motions and maybe they won't be found out. And obviously I'm not okay with that. So we were given a contact out of Georgia, Bella Rosa Estates. She is very big on disease testing, very open about their disease-free status. And we were able to bring in Foxy from their herd, as well as a new Nigerian breeding buck. And this is Mooch. Mooch is hanging out with Feral. And that back there is one of Breezy's bucklings, that's Elf. These guys have been sparring all morning. Oh, did you see Feral? That was a cheap shot, Feral. Sometimes goats without horns, they know it. He bit him in the ear. He's trying to turn my Nigerian into a La Mancha. It's not how it works. So in speaking with Samara at Bella Rosa Estates, I told her, I sent her pictures of the udders that we had, and she helped me figure out what was going to be a great fit for our herd. I'm still not great at really assessing things like that and knowing what is solid as far as the show world goes. I know what I like to milk. I like nice soft udders, but really what our herd needs is attachments. A lot of our herd udders are kind of low hanging, and structurally that's fine for a couple of years, but over time those udders start to sag and they can cause physical issues with the doe. It can be hard for babies to nurse when the udders are really low. It can be hard to milk. They can get injured. So a nice sound udder is a great thing, no matter if you are homesteading or showing. And I let Samara know that we do have kind of repeat issues of seeing multiple teats in our herd, and then I really just want to fix that. So I didn't want to purchase animals that had that in their history at all. And Samara was great. She pointed us to Mooch over here. I also let Samara know that one of our main goals here is to provide quality goats for homesteaders, and many homesteaders will hand milk. I like to hand milk if I don't have a lot of goats to milk, and so teat size, teat length with Nigerians is very important for that. And so that was part of the reason that we purchased him. His mom has nice long hand milkable teats, and we want to maintain that in our herd. It's really important to me. Mooch and Foxy are not related, so we can pair them together. We can get another buckling out of them if we like. We could have doelings out of them. We can obviously pair Mooch with literally any doe here on the farm to try to help lessen the chance that we see that three-teated issue come out in the goats that we have here. And that's good. We were in some pretty serious need of genetic diversity. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how my breeding groups are going to work for this fall. I will still be using Nefarious. We love him. It's just that one combination didn't work out well. I did pair him with Stormy this summer in order to get fall babies. Stormy and Tempest are genetically the same, essentially. They have the same mom and they have the same dad. They were just born in different years. So the potential for Stormy and Nefarious, that combination to throw multiple teated kids, is there, so I'll be keeping my eye out for that. There is a chance that Stormy would not have gotten that gene from Havoc. There is still a chance that it was environmental. If you guys know anything about environmental causes, like solid proof, if you have it, of environmental causes for the multiple teat issue or any other physical deformity, I would love to hear about that. I want to know more about it. It's really hard to find it when you're just doing Google. I have yet to retain a mini La Mancha buck out of our herd to use within our herd with our current mini La Mancha doelings. I do plan on using Mooch for our mini La Mancha program. I think he's going to be one of those really solid foundation animals. If I combine him with a goat like Elsa, that goat is completely unrelated to like Elpas's triplets, and so that's really good. And then the offspring that would come out of that pairing would be completely unrelated to Feral, and that's how we can build up within our own herd and be more of a closed herd than we've been in the past couple of years. When you're herd building, it's hard to remain closed, especially when you keep back a lot of daughters. Eventually the sire, your herd sire, has saturated the gene pool quite a bit and he needs replacing. So I don't have any plans to use Havoc this fall. I don't know if I'm going to be selling him or not. I'm still undecided on that, because it's not that I'll never be able to use him again. He's been good to us. Are you making friends yet? Oh no, it's still early. Come here, Winnie. Can you stand next to Foxy so we can properly see how small she is? Here's Winnie. I believe Winnie's about half the size of Foxy. Look. Look at that. Oh my goodness. She's so tiny. It's crazy that she's a mama. Oh my gosh. Here's the biggest goat we have on the farm. And then, come here, get right next to her. Look at that. I feel like we could ball Foxy up and just stuff her inside of Elsa's udder. That is how small she is. Or how big her udder is. You can pick. How goes it over here on the jungle gym? You be nice. Christine is the herd queen, one of them. I think her and Elsa share the queenship. I think she likes you. Yeah, you guys don't play on this much, do you? You scared everyone. Little Miss Tori is not the tiniest yearling we have anymore, huh? Tori's bigger. It's kind of crazy. Tori's one of those goats that's been so hands-off with like her health needs, her condition. She looks really, really good. I'm excited to breed her this fall. It's still undecided to whom I will breed her to. Possibly Mooch. Since he comes from a farm that produced this tiny little micro goat, I have a feeling the kids coming out of her will not be super big. Yeah, that's probably a good option, huh? What do you think, Tizzy girl? You're gonna get feral this fall. You too. Hopefully, Fury here is already bred for fall babies. Margie's bred to feral for fall babies. Stormy is bred to nefarious for fall babies. Oh, Elsa. Throwing her weight around. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. You are. See, I wasn't sure that I'd be buying any new goats this year. I've purchased quite a few. I had sold a lot of goats at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, so we have the space. Because we are working on establishing a really nice herd, every time we breed our goats, we really would like to improve upon the parents. So we've identified things that need improving. We've purchased the genetic stock in order to achieve those improvements, and now we just wait for fall time when we can put some goats together and then wait impatiently until spring.